that?
I think
It's all, yeah, we all going to be on.
Cut you 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Stephanie, you going to do the 1, 2, 3?
I'm going to go in front and do it.
All right. I'm going to find out how coachable you really are.
Have you ever seen somebody? Tell me when we get close to 3.
Okay. How does this look, Stephanie? How are we doing? Give her a moment. Give her a moment. We go without her. Yeah. After you guys all bust back, I have to.
All right. I'll just wait there. Yeah.
We're waiting for Stephanie. Here comes Stephanie. Yeah, our leader.
Hey, Frank.
Everybody look out.
We're going to say something.
1, 2, 3.
Thanks for joining us on the street. The program will begin in 5 minutes. 3rd floor, this building. 5 minutes, 3rd floor, this building.
And there's a box trying to send it over.
Thank you.
Nobody.
Nobody the scissors.
Welcome, everybody. I'm going to start with a little bit more. 4 years ago this week, I sat in that back corner and I interviewed for the job here at the museum with Mike and Ron and Dick Ansel was on the phone from San Antonio, Texas. I thought I was interviewing for the job of Executive Director of America's Credit Union Museum. What I was really interviewing for was to become part of a family. And this is an incredible movement where we're all family. Nobody hugs more than this group of people. So, that being said, like any other family, we get together, we celebrate things, we have holidays together, we celebrate birthdays, weddings, and I would like to just wish Jim Nussel happy birthday. So we're not actually celebrating just Jim's birthday today. We are celebrating what I like to consider the marriage of the Credit Union Museum and the CUNA Research Center. And you all in this room have a part of that, so thank you. And because my time is very brief here, I'm going to introduce Mike because he likes to talk a lot.
This is just like a day of work. Stephanie, thank you. Jim, happy birthday. So nice dance, brought some people in. People throw a building together for you. Where did they go? Mike Blackway, President and CEO of Bellwether Community Credit Union, and the privilege of being the Chairman of the Board of America's Credit Union Museum. On behalf of the board, we want to welcome all of you to the birthplace of credit unions, where our industry's principles and values were established 3 floors down. And we're now, 109 years later, we're serving 110 million members across the country. So, pretty impressive. Last time Jim and I did this, I had a number, and the first thing he did was get up and suddenly had the wrong number. So I got that number right off the website just before I came up here. The board members that are here with me today, if I could just recognize them, Ron Covey, you see him, one arm, Chip, Ron. That wasn't part of the script on it. That came up. Paul Gentile, when the Cooperative Credit Union Association Paul. Sean Gilfelder, is Sean here? Okay, we miss Sean. Bill Raker, I know, is here.
Over here.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for joining us. Todd Mason.
Over here.
God, the great state of Maine is represented, which is always great. And Peter Lemire, I'm going to get to Peter as opposed to Peter, if you could just give a wave. And his daughter Ivy. The vision of attorney Joseph Boivin and Alphonse Desjardins, the credit union pioneer, and Monsignor Pierre Heavey had this vision of what this could be. I'm not sure they had quite all of this in mind, but 109 years ago, they made that happen. The museum's history is a little shorter than that, so I'm not going to go all the way back 109 years, otherwise I would take up some microphone time. But the museum's history started in 2002, and it started with the Lemire family. They got together and they knew that this building had historic meaning. They sought out the folks at St. Mary's. I think it was Ron Priel, if I'm not mistaken, right? Ron's team over at St. Mary's at the time. And they donated this property to St. Mary's, who in turn got it and said, hey, you know, this is bigger than us. And they created a foundation, and this is all kind of roll into what you're experiencing here today. So it wouldn't have happened without the Lemire family and Peter. And I do want to say thank you very much, and please share that with the entire group. I appreciate it. 2012, the board, wanted to set a new vision for itself. We decided that we wanted to be the keeper of the history and heritage of our industry. We wanted to be a strategic planning destination for credit unions who wanted to get back to their roots. And we also wanted to create an industry research library so everybody who wanted to know more about credit unions would have a single place to go. It took a commitment of, when we did the math, it took a commitment of us raising $3.3 million. Every capital campaign has a need needs leadership. I'm proud to say that the board at the time got together, we had 100% participation, and that board and their organizations funded 20% of that piece. The next step, if you've been in the fundraising business at all, you need to find a partner, a leader. I think if you've been in the fundraising, they get the triangle, and the leaf is at the top. We had two triangles. We had one that was $1 million at the top, and we had one that was $500 million. I remember being with Bill Cheney and looking at both. I said, the $1 million one is better because it can make it easier to do the rest. And CUNA stepped up. And I know a bunch of the board members who were in the room when I gave that presentation are here today. I want to thank you for your generosity. I thank you for your foresight and your trust that this would have meaning, and I think you'll find over the years this will indeed have meaning. Good trade associations are effective advocates for their constituents, and great trade associations create products and services to support their organizations. Exceptional, extraordinary trade associations look for that opportunity to have a huge impact when those opportunities come. And I'm proud to say that the CUNA, I want to thank CUNA for taking advantage of that opportunity. So thanks to everyone who's represented CUNA today. Stephanie and the board, our job after that was to lever that leadership gift, and we went around the credit union industry and told the story literally pretty much in all four corners of the country. It's a wonderful story to tell. Many people never knew we even had it in a museum. Their eyes kind of light up, and if we can we figured out, if we could just get it here, it kind of clicked. And we've been able to do that through this campaign. We had dozens of credit unions, and they are listed in your program book who sponsored us at the campaign level, and we have dozens more, many more, who are committed to be sustaining members for the museum. So not only do we have a great building, and we're about to redo the inside of this building, but I think we're in a position where we're going to be able to be here to kind of meet that objective that the museum board wanted to have in 2012. I need to thank some folks, if I could, Matt, then I'll wrap up. Ron Cupping is our building chair. He did not get hurt. Just in case our insurance company doesn't know. And Ron and Stephanie it's a committee of Ron and Stephanie. We got right there. And they did a wonderful job. Harvey Construction, local construction company here, Bill Stevens here, Bill, he just kind of gave a wave. If you're not from here, you don't know that, but they not only are they really good builders, they do a lot in the community. They're partnering with them in any project. Thanks for joining us. Lauer Architects for the folks who helped draw things up and help us. Although I'm still mad at them because I wanted to do the cigar fire up. And Ron and I went back at it at least twice, and basically there's permitting issues and stuff like that. I want to thank everybody for the acts that we tried. And a special thank you to Stibler Associates who helped us kind of design inside the visual what the furniture could be. And I know Sid Elton was here, my friend. Bill, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your project. Thanks for your work on the project. So we decided to break this up into 2 phases. And actually, when we first did it, I didn't realize phase 1 was going to end on Jim's birthday, but that could have been part of the reason you made that motion. I'm not sure. So phase 1 was really to tie things into the ACUC. So we have people that come in very well, respect the conference, and I think we do East Coast, West Coast, and so we were catching Boston an hour away. We knew that we felt we could, the building committee felt we could get the building done in time to have all of the gear, and that's been able to work. The big thing there was that building next door, ever since I've been here, has been boarded up. So what it looks like today is not what it looked like, and look at here you got it. So it's not what it looked like when we started. But if you haven't had a chance to go there, please do. There's some tours applicants are speaking here. It's turned out wonderful, and we have the library. I'll get to that in a little bit. It's a wonderful, wonderful turnaround. It's created additional space here, so moving some office space over there. We have additional exhibit space here, so for those of us have envisioned the willingness and the ability to tell some stories about industry, we have the ability to have some additional exhibit space now that we made that move. Phase 2 is really, we did the outside of this building, so if you've been here before, you saw the colors change, and the service credit union sign used to be the service sign, they put in some windows. That's going to be in a few weeks, Stephanie, is that we got phase 2?
After I have that.
After that. And I hope it is in a couple weeks, because there's certainly plan. And so we'll wrap this up, put the technology in the first that we paid in here, and we'll also be implementing the technology we need for the research library, that remote access that we aspire to that'll be coming in phase 2. So a lot of organizations stepped up in a big way, and I want to specifically mention our supporters who are at the $50,000 level. If I could mention their names, if you allow me. Obviously, CUNA affiliates, Jim, thank you very much. The board here, I know Maurice Smith is here. Thank you very much to everybody in the CUNA board for that leadership and how much we leveraged it. Service Credit Union, I know Danny is here from the board. Dan is Service, Andrew is here. Thank you guys very much for that. This was all going early on, so we got the people. It wasn't just pie in the sky. We had real numbers with really, folks who were seen as leaders. PSCU, Mary, Mary's here. Thank you very much for that generous forecast. I want to check. Service, Schools First, Federal Credit Union, Bill Cheney. FiServ, the gentleman I worked with, Mark Seabright, is no longer with FiServ. Well, I will tell you, if you've worked in the credit union movement for a while, Mark gets us. And had an awesome lunch, and I had an awesome lunch with him, although he still complains that I bought the lunch and he wrote the big check. But he definitely understands, so if you get a chance to see him around the movement, I think you will thank him for representing our interests with the FiServ folks. Northeast Credit Union, Tim Clear, I think is here. I don't think that's happening yet, but Bellwether Credit Union, my folks are here. Thank you all for that. CU Direct, Tony Patel, I don't think anybody's here from CU Direct, I've not seen them. Digital Credit Union could not be here. Jean d'Arc, Mark Cochran, I know is here. Mark, thank you very much. He was in early on, and some people just tell the story too, and they get it, and it was just a wonderful thing. The Maine Credit Union League and Synergen, I know Todd is here, Todd Mason. John Murphy is here, we'll get to John in a little bit, but a big part of the original of this was John and the Maine Credit Union League. I tell you this, so not only did they raise a bunch of money, but they, in this second phase, we'll be putting in the John Murphy course. And every credit union in the state of Maine participated in that to honor John and his movement. So that is just, if you want leadership, just take a look at the Northeast part of the state of Maine is the wonderful job with that. Robert Cashman and Metro Credit Union, thank you. Navigate, Gary Furtado is here. Gary, thank you very much. I know she got the elevator. He's always up to something. I'm trying to figure what that is. Suncoast Schools, Gary is here. And thank you all for that. Third degree advertising. I don't know if you guys, anybody bumped into Roy Page in the industry, and he's marketing for a brand firm. We didn't have a marketing budget for our campaign, and we did an RFP. I don't know what expected. We got the RFP, and we got a really, really good guy, some very talented people who did this pro bono for us. All the material we use. So when you see him, and I don't know whether he's going to be at the ACUC or not, but if you bump into him in trade shows or anything, awesome guy. He got it right away. A wonderful team to work with. Triangle, Morris Samad, I know Morris is here. Morris, thank you very much. The Cooperative Credit Union Association, a special mention I want to give for that. Not only did they make a leadership contribution, and they were there right out of the gate, but we are literally a staff of one. I mean, Stephanie has perfect synergy with her team. It's just and you, it's all the things that have to be done to support she needs, the administrative support we need, and the New Hampshire League and now the CCUA has been there from the beginning. I mean, we've been doing that. And so, Paul, thank you. Because I know we couldn't do it. We needed to have an easy team, and I mean, they're here today. I mean, they're what do we call this? Streaming this live. Live streaming. Live streaming right now. That's good. And I also shout out to Cornerstone Credit Union League and Senior Resources for their leadership here. I think Carolyn's here. I don't know if I said a chance to say hi with it. And obviously the Inspire family is here representing that group. Several of the key donors, folks are, I think I mentioned this already, that some folks, everybody's been named. If you've been named and made a contribution, we have a couple of plaques, stations down in the research center. Keep pointing over there, not sure why. That's the church. And your named opportunities in this building will be put in place permanently once we finish up phase 2, which will begin after the NAP. And this room right here is the service credit, and that sign was just up, but when you're doing the siding, you got to take care of windows, and literally that was there. So Andrew, the service credit, you really need to right the back wall over there. Okay, you got it. So that is on its way. We can't mention all of our donors, but again, they are listed in the program book. We want to thank everybody for this. And a lot of people did a capital campaign, and they were new to us, and they were not sustaining members. It's huge. So thank you, and please spend some time in the building to celebrate what you've invested in. You've done a wonderful thing for our movement. Now I get to introduce somebody who needs to this group no introduction at all. It's Jim Nussel, President and CEO of the Credit Union National Association. I was on the board when Jim was hired and came on. And his early, I think it was a strategic session we had, Jim said, you know, he gave us a background. He said, I'm committed to learn as much about credit unions as possible. You know, that means we're not going to, you know, the talented guy can do a whole bunch of things, but he said, I got this constituency, and I want to learn everything I can about it. He came up here for a business meeting, and Jim toured the museum. Remember that? And his tour guide was Gloria Bouchard. Is Gloria here? You're not going to be able to see her because she's thick. So we wait to see her. Gloria Bouchard is, Gloria Bouchard has been with my credit union for more years than she'll let me say at the podium. Long-time executive. She left. I was able to convince her to come back and be on our board. And somebody who feels passionately about the museum history. So he did a tour, and I bumped into Jim. He said he had a great tour. He had a great time meeting Gloria. And I heard him speak the next day. And he talked about the trip here. He talked about the tour. I think I might be mistaken, Jim. He actually talked about Gloria specifically. And I knew how he tied what he learned in the tour to what CUNA is and what CUNA could be. And he had already done catching up on the principles and values of our history. And that was separate as well. So it is my pleasure to bring up to us.
Now, I will not forget that tour. If you haven't had a tour from Gloria, you're missing something. She really makes it come alive. And I remember that, and I spoke about this at the groundbreaking too, that it's, I'm a history nut, and I love history. If you don't know where you came from, you have no idea where you're going. And to think of the butterfly effect, which is what I described at the groundbreaking, that some people call it the butterfly effect, which is the theory that if a butterfly flaps its wings across the globe somewhere else, that it actually, the currents can create a hurricane somewhere else. And right down in that little office, you know, somebody was flapping his wings, and look what we have today. It's pretty amazing. So thank you, Gloria, and I want to thank the CUNA board for their foresight in making this investment. My team at CUNA, who helped make sure that it was stewarded properly and that the funds were available. Credit unions across the country, because this money doesn't just grow on trees. It comes from hardworking people who serve their members and send a little bit of that to us to do good work, we hope. I'm proud to be part of the Ensweiler family of supporters here as well, both for their benefit as well as for the benefit of credit unions now with the Ensweiler Library. And to my fellow museum board members who, again, had this, not only the creativity, but the foresight to do this. Stephanie, you just, wow, you kill it every day. And the fact that you can do this single-handedly, pretty much, I know you're going to give a lot of credit to a lot of people, but it does take that spark to get it going. And then last but absolutely not least is Mike Leclerc. I mean, you know, to go to the CUNA board and with all of the priorities that could be out there to say, hey, this is important. We've got to tell our district. We've got to be able to preserve that, and we've got to create a foundation, like we were saying, you know, to know where we came from. But the cool thing about this facility is that sometimes you go to a museum and all you hear about is the past. And here, we not only celebrate our great past, but now with the CUNA facility, the CUNA Research Center, and all that can happen here, it gives us the opportunity to talk about the future and to celebrate all of the real cool things that credit unions are going to be able to do into the future. So CUNA is honored to be part of this, and on behalf of the CUNA board, which came out on the party, this is the first time party buses have come to the National Credit Union. This is not your grandfather's credit union. First time that's ever happened, but hopefully it'll happen more. And we would invite many to come to the National Credit Union Museum and the CUNA Research Center to celebrate the history and to get ready for an exciting future. So thank you very much.
I alluded to earlier, our friends from the Cornerstone League and the folks from Texas and Oklahoma wanted to give a special tribute to somebody that was very important, and they did that. We are going to do an unveiling of the Richard Esweiler Library Room in about 5 minutes. So if you'd like to participate and join that, I'm not sure if all of us can get in there, because that wasn't in the budget. But we're going to have an opportunity to kind of share that with the Esweiler family, and a special thanks to the people who really were psyched to be able to do it. So we were raising, just one quick story, when we were raising money, it was a little bit easier to tell the story if you were doing it, because people knew the news from the bank, and people had a chance to interact with you. The further out we go, you had to tell the story first with the Hampshire license, just the history. When we got to Texas, Dick had already done that. And so everybody was, they didn't tell the story, they were asking questions. And we had an instant connection, and they have been incredible supporters of the museum, even before we did this project. So we'll be psyched to be able to sell that movie here again in 5 minutes, second floor of the research building. So everybody, please take a tour. If somebody's wearing a purple shirt, it's the American Credit Union Museum. They'll be glad to give you a tour. If you can bump into Gloria, take that tour. Thanks, everybody. I didn't break it. That would not have been good, because I was pretty sure it was on film, and that would have been something that would have went viral. Again, Mike Leclerc, and we're here to celebrate what a bunch of people really wanted to have happen in recognition of this guy right here. Dick was one of the first people I met when I did my first CUNA committee. I believe, John and Dick, you were co-sponsors of the Growth Task Force. Okay, so I was going down to Texas to work on growth, naive, etc. We worked really hard, and then we had to blow off some steam, and we did that at Dick and Judy's house, and I still vividly remember most of it. In a very short time, I got to understand quickly that Dick was a family first guy. I had dinner last night with Judy and Jeff and Allison. He's still a family guy. And what I realized was that credit unions, very fortunate that Dick embraced the industry as part of his family. And it was very clear to me in my first real visit down to Stephanie was in Italy. I've mentioned that.
You get so close, Mike.
And I went down to the leadership conference there and had a chance to tell the story about the museum to your larger credit unions. And you could instantly see how they felt about Dick, how he looked to their leadership, how he looked to them for their leadership. And it was no surprise when they reached out and said, hey, we'd like to do something very special for Dick. And he loves the museum, he loves this. What can we do to make sure that all he's done for us is memorialized? And Stephanie and the team there worked together to do all this. So when you came in, on the far right window, you'll see a list, just to the right of it, I'm sorry, a list of organizations that really wanted to do something. It was very easy to do, by the way, that story. And we told them that when we did this opening of the CUNA Research Center, we would kick off and do an unveiling here of the Richard Enzweiler Library. So Stephanie has gone back and forth whether I pull this off or whether we do it together. I'll defer to you.
She said we do it together.
Okay, let's do it if we could. Here we go, folks. Oh, I'm messed up. Okay, you got it. Here you go, folks.
This is just, I don't know how to state it, but what an honor. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize the credit unions in Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas were so glad to get rid of me, they donate this much. Somehow towards the end they did, and it's just such an honor. I've told people that you go around here and you look at all the big names on the wall and you see the real pioneers and the people that built this credit union movement, and to think somehow they found my name in the hat to say we want to dedicate this library. I mean, it's beyond anything I could ever imagine. So it's quite a day. I'm glad to have family with me. Judy, of course, been on the high side for almost 45 years. Jeff and Allison are here. Son Mike was here for the groundbreaking, but couldn't be here today. But it's been a family affair. They're still tied up in credit unions. We love credit unions, I guess I'll always. But to have something like this to memorialize the spirit and energy that I so gave because I love this so much, it's just it's something I could never imagine. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Enjoy your museum. Both buildings are open. Be open for a while. There's drinking food. Thanks for coming.